It's your daily dose of Donna. Welcome to the show. Today is Tuesday, March 5th. We've got a jam-packed show for you guys. All kinds of behind-the-scenes drama. Queer Eye, Beverly Hills 90210, Vanderpump Rules. Is something about her ever going to open? Who is Luann DeLesseps dating? All coming up on today's show. I tried a new intro out. I created that on my own. You guys, I have the ability using incredible resources like Canva. Come on, Canva, come and sponsor Daily Dose of Donna. I have resources that I can create. I don't want to say this because there's a lot of people out there whose careers depend on being able to edit and doing all that. But listen, to throw something together, little Donna put that together. I was really proud of myself, very excited about my little editing job. I will add to it and make it a little bit better and longer. And that's what she said. OMG, you guys. It's Tuesday. Do I look like a Tesla owner? Hi, my name is Donna, and I have a Tesla. I kept saying that to Lance last night, or in the last couple days, since I got it. Number one, I'm not an owner. I'm a leaser. I rent. No, I don't rent. I lease. You don't rent. I mean, you can rent a car, but I lease the car. But I am a proud lease owner of a Tesla Model Y. And it was so fun. Yesterday, Lance and I drove all the way up to Camarillo, which is not that far, but it's about 45 minutes away. It's kind of like halfway between Los Angeles and Santa Barbara. Beautiful drive, no traffic, sunny day. Was eating some snacks, chatting it up with the hubs. If I ever call Lance my hubby, you can officially fire me. Okay? No offense to those who do. I just don't want to be that person. That's just me, This is me. Just like I'm Greatest Showman. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Okay? We drove up there. The process of getting a Tesla, and seriously, no perks here, no sponsorship, no nothing. But the process of getting a Tesla ruins your want to ever get another car ever, 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 ever. Because it literally is so incredible how hard it is to get a car these days, right? Not only are the prices out of, who has the time to sit at a dealership from morning till night and to BS with them? No offense if you're a car dealer, but sorry, it's all games, right? Oh, I don't want to pay this. No, this is the lowest we can do. Hold on, let me go back. Let me come back to you. 45 minutes later, 3 Starbucks coffees later, you're so tired. It's 11 p.m. at night. All you want to do is go home. You just want to get the freaking car. So the last minute, you're like, I guess I'll spend $100 more a month. I guess I'll put down my, mortgage payment for my car. I'll do it all. Anything. Just get me out of this dealership. So now, with having that experience of literally getting a car on my phone, it's kind of spoiled me. We'll have to see. Katie says, super cute intro. We need the sob and Robin in the intro. If you guys are watching on YouTube over here, you will get you'll get an idea of, I just pulled 3 random clips that were in Canva, but I will pull some sob and Robin out there for sure. Maybe I need the one where I have a mop on my head. I just need a lot of different props, right? It's all about props. A lot of you guys do call your fiancés hubby, husbands, hubby. Babe is worse. I do say babe. No one says babe like Lindsay and Carl. Oh, also, shout out to Sharna in the Facebook group. Doser, she's here watching live. She reminded me yesterday on Facebook that I, by mistake, say Craig when I mean to say Carl sometimes. And listen, the only thing I can say is we're human beings. We make mistakes, and some people are just heavy on my mind, I can't help it that Craig's name just comes out. I can't. As long as it doesn't come out, during sexy time with the hubby. Could you die? I feel like I'm a sister wife talking about sexy time with the hubby. Anyway, thank you so much for pointing that out, Sharna. I try my best to do everything accurately, but we do this live. The show is live. And speaking of, thank you so much for everyone that is subscribing. We are inching up. We're at 14 point something thousands, 14.4 thousand subscribers right now. Remember, I really want to get to 15,000. I feel like it can happen. You never know, right? We're at 430. Let's go. Let's go. I appreciate all of you guys and all the kind reviews over on the podcast app, Spotify, the 5 stars, all of that really helps the show grow. And as you know, I am a grower, not a shower. I don't know if that's a good thing. You know what else I am? I'm a therapy lover. And I want to remind you guys that this week, the show, Daily Dose of Donna, is sponsored by my favorite, and that is BetterHelp. Just remember that you can also get on your way to being your best self by using betterhelp.com/DANA Donna. So what's the first thing you would do if you had an extra hour in your day? Some of you would go for a run. Some of you would take a nap. Some of you would read a book. Most of you would watch reality TV. Let's be honest. Okay? Or YouTube. A lot of us spend our lives wishing we had more time, but time for what? Like, how would you use it if time was unlimited? And yes, sure, it does feel good to watch 40 episodes of Love is Blind back to back and laugh at Chelsea. But at the same time, don't you want to do something for yourself? And that is self-care. So that's tricky too, but Chelsea's not going to solve your problems. So therapy can actually help you find what matters to you so that you can do more from it. You know that I love therapy. I'm a huge therapy fan. I really do believe BetterHelp is a great option. It's entirely online. It's convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. They won't be offended. You won't have to say it to them I'm sorry, I don't want to work with you anymore. Learn to make time for what makes you happy with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/Donna. That's DANA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Donna. Thanks, BetterHelp. Okay, you know who needs some better help is Mr. Jax Taylor. Guys, Jax Taylor has officially been spotted filming for The Valley. Why does this frustrate me to no end? Okay. So The Valley has not even premiered. It premieres, I believe, March 19th. So we're March 5th. So that will be 2 weeks from today on Tuesday. Are they going to put it right after Vanderpump? I bet they will. I bet it's going to be like an 8 o'clock Vanderpump, 9 o'clock Valley. That does make sense. Do I want to watch the show? No. Will I watch the show? Yes. Because I have to. Because it's my job. What's your excuse? What is your excuse to watch The Valley? Didn't think you had one. Now, this whole breakup that we're seeing, I think 2 things can be true. A lot of people are saying this is just for The Valley. I can't wrap my head around. And I think that reality stars and celebrities that really want to get in the press and really want success, etc., will do anything. They will go to all ends of the earth to get fame and to get press and to be, whatever. However, I do believe, and maybe I'm crazy, I do believe that maybe not Jax, but Brittany would not actually go the distance of moving out of the house, taking off his last name on her Instagram profile, talking about it on camera and on podcasts when she knows that she has a son who will grow up and watch this and see this. Okay? All I know is that the last thing you ever want to do, if you're going through some sort of separation or issues, the last thing you ever want to do is, until you for sure know what the plan is tell your kids, right? That's what I've heard. That's what people have told me, marriage therapists, etc. Because the second you tell your kids when you're kind of on the fence and you don't really know where you're going, it really throws them off. It's confusing. Now, of course, if you have older kids and you're moving out of the house so that you can I have 2 water bottles and I'm like, I prefer the straw today. If you prefer, like, if you need to move out of your house and your kids are, 10, 8, whatever, and they're going to ask questions like, why is mom gone? Why is dad leaving? Why are we leaving? Whatever. And that makes sense that you would have to share something. Ideally, you come up with something that makes sense so it doesn't scare the living bejesus out of your kids thinking it's completely over, and then bring them back. But Cruz, okay, I believe he's like 2 or 3 years old. If you have a 2 or 3-year-old, just remembering from my kids, they don't know which way is up. They just want snacks, toys, fun. I don't think kids at that age, I mean, I do remember though, and what's really crazy, and I don't know if you guys feel this way. So I have 2 boys, and both were so different, still are so opposites, right? And the older one definitely had more of a sense of what was happening, I thought, at that age. Like, I just felt like he was super aware. I just thought he knew what was up. He was like, he just came out of me smart and like emotionally mature and very observant and asking the right questions. Now, my other son, bless him, love him, beyond, is incredible at a lot of things. That is not one of his top strengths. Like, he is not, maybe as he's getting older, it's different, but I could literally, like, I don't know. I could probably do a lot of crazy things right in front of his face and he wouldn't ask questions. It doesn't like hit him, right? So I don't know. I just find it really interesting. I guess it depends on the kid. But a kid is probably going to recognize, hey, we're not at home anymore. Because I imagine Brittany took Cruz. We're not at home anymore. Where's daddy? Now, listen, let's hope that they're going to still hang out, that he's still going to be a present dad. I think Jax has always been very proud of being a father and very, he seems like a very active, present father from what we see. Also, I think on Zach Peters' show, and I could be wrong, I heard that they're still going to continue their podcast together, which is the two of them together. And last I heard, like, I don't know. I didn't think it was a marriage podcast, but they're going to be breaking down episodes of The Valley and Vanderpump Rules and talking about like normal pop culture things as a couple that is separated and going through what potentially could lead to divorce. Like, what is that? I don't know. I just find it completely strange. I don't understand how just being married and going through the ups and downs of marriage, if you are so strong in your will to separate that you get another home. This is not like I need space. I'm getting a hotel room for a weekend, or I need you to go sleep in the guest room, which, by the way, they have a very large home. Like, they have a large enough home that they could 100% just go sleep in a guest room. If it's that big that you are picking up your stuff and moving into a rental home, like, you're not at the place where you're going to do a podcast talking about the Valley. Unless like one of them, is coming out of the closet and they're like besties and like, and that's not what I've heard. I'm just saying it just doesn't really fully understand, right? Like, it doesn't fully like compute how they can do the show together. So Jax is back filming The Valley, and why it annoys me is because I feel like if the cameras of The Valley on a show that was completely, we have no idea how it's going to perform. We have no idea how well it's going to do. It hasn't even premiered, and it stopped shooting a while ago. If a show like that is already picking up cameras to pick up like Jax and Brittany, the aftermath of their separation, it just feels so contrived. It feels like, okay, we've done this now like 7 times. How many shows do we have to pick the cameras back up because a separation happened right when cameras went down? Kyle and Mauricio, Scandal. I mean, it's like every one of them. I think we're done with this, like, this narrative, right? It feels very, very annoying. Chris says Tom and Ariana still live together, but they don't. Make it make sense. So Tom and Ariana at least are not pretending to be friendly and not pretending to be on a podcast together. Like, Tom and Ariana are broken up. Do I think it's normal that they live together? Absolutely not. Speaking of, that's a good segue into my next little story. So apparently, and I've been thinking about this because we haven't really heard about like the reactions from Tom and Ariana about this lawsuit. If you remember last week, I believe it was on Friday, Rachel Leviss sued Tom and Ariana for revenge porn. Now, there's lots of videos out there. There's lots of people that have done super deep dives in the legal aspects. Do they have a case? Does it hold up? All the things that are named. I know a bunch of you guys have seen these things. However, I do believe that, you know, not knowing really exactly how Tom and Ariana feel I'm interested in that. I have not seen anyone specifically speak on it, but I did see an article today saying Tom is absolutely crushed. He used the word crushed. Well, the source used the word crushed by the revenge porn lawsuit. Now, you guys have to remember this. Let's try to think this out. Okay. Tom, as far as we know, was in love with Rachel, right? Raquel, in love with her. And when the show is starting to air, right, in July of last year, we still see Tom like harping on her, really sad about the fact that she's been in treatment and she's not talking to him, not calling him on his birthday. He's going through like this feeling of, I don't know what's next. I think at this point, honestly, genuinely, I do believe that Tom Sandoval really did want this relationship to work. Now, he had no idea that Rachel was not only not going to come back to him, but she was going to completely shade him in public. Remember how she blocked him when he wrote happy birthday or something on her page. She famously blocked him on Instagram, like publicly blocked him. Like she posted about it. Super embarrassing for Tom. And then not only that, she went on, Bethany's podcast and then subsequently her own podcast talking all about how Tom is just a narcissist, an awful person, completely screwed her over. So Tom, now at this point where we are in February, March of 24, I believe Tom is probably over her. But you can imagine how hard that was for Tom's ego. Right. I guarantee you, Tom thought to himself, okay, the one bright spot here, the one thing out of this whole Sandoval drama is that at least I'm going to be able to publicly and openly be with the woman I love. He thought he loved her, or maybe he did. I don't know. The point is he got, really, really rejected by her. He clearly got blocked by her. He got shamed by her. He got, she's really spoken very badly about him. I'm not in any way denying anything she's done or standing up for Tom, by the way. Like, not at all. Not at all. I'm just saying all these things that have come at Tom, so many things coming at his face, right? His annoying face. But now this thing is probably the worst. And it says Tom Sandoval is crushed. He thought that they would spend forever together. As insiders claim, he will likely pay her off to avoid a huge mess in court after causing irreversible trauma. So this is an insider. So it could be Tom Sandoval's team. It could be, someone else on Vanderpump, whatever. It says that he obviously has just been really, really devastated about it. And he was unaware, it says, that the toll that his actions had taken on her and that he hopes to settle outside of court in a bid to avoid a huge mess. Tom is so crushed right now by this lawsuit, a network insider exclusively revealed to Daily Mail. None of them ever realized this would take the toll on Rachel that it did. Okay. And by the way, just to repeat what a couple other people have said before, I don't believe that he or any of us, no, I don't believe as a public, as a community, as a world, I don't believe any of us thought about the video as a big reason for, being disappointed in the situation or with her. Like the video is the least of our concern, honestly. I'm sure there's people out there that have been concerned with it. But has anyone listened to the fact that Ariana, the reason people are mad is because she was having an affair with him. They're not mad because she, played with herself on FaceTime. No one's upset about that, right? So he's obviously very upset. Okay, well, that's not shocking. It's crazy that he's going to end up having to either go to court against her or pay a significant amount of money to her. This really, I keep thinking about this. I wonder if he looks back. Obviously, he regrets having the affair, and I am sure he regrets every single piece of it. But like now, can you imagine going back and being like, wow, I really not only screwed myself like publicly and with reputation, but now financially so many hits. Like think about Andy Cohen and Leah McSweeney. Okay. Even though Leah, in my opinion, doesn't really have a strong case for most of what she's suing for. But even though that, can you imagine being an Andy Cohen and going back and saying like, I agreed, like I watched casting tapes and I picked her. Because Andy Cohen does, at the end of the day, have a say in casting, right? So there's like a casting team that comes and brings you all the videos or all the submissions or all, they meet with people and they usually whittle it down to top contenders. That's how it usually works. And then network and producers and everyone gets involved after that. And then they meet with people, a couple more times. I just can't believe how stupid you would feel if you were Andy Cohen. You're like, what did I do? Like, why did I bring her in? Why did I bring Leah into the fold? Why did I bring Brandy into the fold? It's like, why did I do this? Regret. Regret is a bitch. Okay. Let's talk about something about her. And let's be really, really, I'm going to be pretty, speedy on this. Speedy Gonzalez. I saw a TikTok this morning and it was a man yesterday. This guy doesn't really even understand Ariana's name from the video. I mean, he's like, Adriana. I think he said Adriana. But he was yesterday. So this is just yesterday. He was on Robertson, basically between Santa Monica and Melrose. That's exactly where Sir is. It's a block away from Something About Her. Something About Her is between the Abbey and Sir, okay? And he was there and he saw Something About Her. He filmed it. I'm just trying to look and see if I can quickly find the video because then I can show it to you guys. But if I can't, I can't. But the point is that he saw it and he's like, there is no sandwich shop opening. There is no sandwich shop opening. I don't understand this game that we're getting played with. Because at this point, if you really wanted Something About Her to open, honestly, if you did, what you would do is you would pick up and you would open somewhere else that wasn't giving you so many incredibly difficult challenges when it comes to, I don't know, permits and patios and all of these things. Like we're hearing that there's so many issues. Okay. I just found the video. I'm going to send it to myself and then I'm going to open it up and I'm going to show it to you guys. But and you'll hear it obviously if you're listening to the audio version. This is just feeling so incredibly strange to me, you guys. I cannot believe that this is actually a thing. Hold on one second. Let me just turn. Okay. Are we ready? Are we ready to do our present of the day? Here we go.
So this is the supposed sandwich shop. That's the supposed sandwich shop that Ariana and Katie are supposed to be opening. Those are the two women from Vanderpump Rules. And for the last year or more, they've been saying, we're going to open this shop. They even had it decorated at one point just to be filmed on the show. But that blank slate is what they have. It's a sandwich shop. You slice bread in half, you slap some stuff on, a little mayo. It's a sandwich. It used to be a restaurant. There's no silly red tape. They ain't opening that shop. Guaranteed.
So that's Scragola, Jerry M on TikTok. It literally, if you look at the beginning of the video, it is literally a set. There is nothing. Okay. This patio that they built that was so gorgeous is gone. Obviously, there's a permit issue, but there's not a sign to be seen. There's not a light to be seen. This is not a real sandwich shop. And I think that anyone that can see this, like you can kind of tell the comments. It's giving She by Sheree vibes. It's giving Fire Festival. Now it's nothing about her. We ain't ever getting that Greek salad sandwich. Then it says probably leased out to Bravo for a set. Someone said something about nothing. Sheree says it's supposed to open spring, summer, or September. Okay. Here's what I'm going to say. I believe that if there is really a permit issue and there is really like all these issues to open up, I feel at this point with all of the resources, with Bravo behind them, with so many things, they could say, listen, we can't open. We're turning this into a food truck. We're turning this into a pop-up shop at the Grove. We're turning, like, come on. There's a million things you could do if you really wanted this place to open. You could say, we have some major issues. The kitchen doesn't work. We can't open here. This is a bad location. And then honestly, if they weren't able to open for a variety of reasons, they would be able to stop paying their rent, which I believe they have stopped paying their rent. Because if you guys remember on an after show a couple months ago, it was or a week ago or a few weeks ago, I don't even remember anymore. It was right after one of the episodes and they were talking about spending money, Ariana and all her bills that she has to pay. Remember when Tom said that Ariana doesn't pay anything? So Ariana's talking about her, sandwich bills her mortgage bills or whatever. And then Katie says, yeah. And remember when we had to pay rent for something about her? So it's so clearly that they paid rent for a certain amount of time. It didn't work out and it's going on. Okay. Anne says you can go to the LA County courts and pull up the permit filings. They should all be for public viewing. I'm going to put that on one of you guys. Okay. So if you're watching the show, listening to the show, I would like you to go to the Los Angeles County Courts. Like, I want to talk to a contractor. If you are a contractor in the city of West Hollywood and you watch the show, you know stuff, DM me. Let's get this conversation. Okay. Christina says, well, I mean, you're writing this on this comment, so I assume that we can talk about this openly. My AA meeting is across the street from the shop. I believe it will open. Why are people so bothered by this? That's a really good question. Okay. I think it's why people are so bothered is because we have been sold a big old sandwich of lies. This is what bothers me. I think that, do I care if the sandwich shop actually opens or not? No, personally, I don't care. But the whole storyline of the show that we're supposed to be tuning in for this season, at least the reason Katie is still on the show, what Katie is kind of doing on the show is building this and opening the sandwich shop. We've been to the sandwich shop already, filming scenes. We've seen that there is going to be a sandwich tasting at the shop at some episode this season because we saw pictures when they were filming it. We saw they did the opening at the sandwich shop. We saw that they hired the chef, they hired the Nancy Meyers designer. Like, this was a project. This was not a small little nothing. It wasn't like someone came up with an idea for an online magazine and then pulled out. This is like they had a shop. Like, we saw it. We were in there with them. Remember, Derek Huff went to Ariana's shop when it was like all done up inside to say, hey, will you be on Dancing with the Stars? Like, this was so why won't it open? Or why does it bother us? I guess it's just because it just goes to kind of add on to, like, is the Valley real? Is the breakup real? Is Kyle really with Morgan? Like, these kinds of stories bother the viewers. Do you guys get that? Like, I think it will be the Greek salad Sandy, the filling falls out. Oh my God, that's funny. I think that it seems like another storyline just for the show. And that is what I think is hard for the viewers, because we want to feel like we are watching reality, right? We want to feel like we're watching a reality show. Now, this was already in July when they're filming the show, right? These episodes, July, August. By August, we were already hearing like what's going on with the sandwich shop. Why isn't it opening yet? But they're not talking about that really on the show. They're just saying someone pooped on the patio. What? Someone pooped on the patio? Like, welcome to Los Angeles. What's your dream? Welcome to Hollywood. What's your dream? Okay, something about nothing. Where do we go from this story? Let's talk about Luann. Luann DeLesseps is dating someone who seems actually up her alley. Luann looks incroyable. How do you say it in French? Incroyable. Okay. She looks insanely good. I mean, she really does. She's always looked good, but she looks 10,000 times better as she gets older. I am like in shock by it. If you go back and watch season 1 Roni and Luann with her short little like shaggy haircut, just like running the kids around, and then remember the housekeeper Lucy, or I can't remember her name. She just looks so pretty. But she is now dating, it looks like, Mary-Kate Olsen's ex-husband, Olivier Sarkozy. They went on a cozy 2-hour date in New York City. He seems like he's her age. Remember, she was just outed as hooking up with Joe Bradley, who's 28. They were having an intimate lunch date on Monday. She is 58 and he's 54. This sounds perfection, right? They were spotted arm in arm. Now remember, he used to date Mary-Kate Olsen in 2020. They got divorced in 2020. If you see a picture of Mary-Kate Olsen and this man, it's giving dad and daughter. It's giving toddlers and tiaras. Like, I don't even know. It's bad, you guys. It's really bad. He is an older man. He's obviously an older man. He's 54, but Mary-Kate Olsen is younger than me. I'm 42. 54 and 42 wouldn't be that crazy, but I want to say she's like 32. And not only that, she's tiny. And I think he's very tall. So I think the whole like the visual of the two of them used to be crazy. Here, actually, there's a picture of them. I'll just kind of show you guys right here. This is the visual of Mary-Kate and this man. I'm sorry. Like he's bringing his little daughter to work. She's tiny and he's a tall man. Strange relationship these two had, I guess. I mean, seriously. Isn't it like, Daddy, can we go to the zoo? I'm sorry if that's like rude, but it's just my gut feeling. It just feels a little like shocking. Listen, I like Luann a lot. I do. I really do. I find her incredibly entertaining. I find her beautiful. I find her like she's gotten her life together. She knows how to pick it back up. Like she has literally fallen in a bush and has found her way back up. I like her. I like her a lot. So good for Luann. Speaking of Luann, Kelly Bensimon. Did you guys see this article? Kelly Bensimon feels attacked by Leah McSweeney's lawsuit. We mentioned that a little bit earlier about Leah McSweeney. We're not going to get into the lawsuit, but in this lawsuit, in court papers, she claimed, Leah, amongst other things, that producers had come to view an episode known as Scary Island. Our favorite episode, season 4 of Roni, when, go to sleep, in which fellow alum Kelly Bensimon appeared erratic and somewhat out of touch with reality as the gold standard for ratings-grabbing TV. She claimed in the papers, McSweeney, Leah, knowing she was struggling with a substance problem and had suffered 0 mental health issues, the producer zeroed in on her as a potential successor to Bensimon and attempted to destabilize her in an attempt to create scenes as wild as the ones in Scary Island. Now, a peeved Bensimon tells Page 6 that she wants Leah McSweeney to leave her out of her beef with Bravo. I'm not angry, she told us, but she should stick to facts. I like the facts. Bensimon has interpreted the suit as implying that she was under the influence of drugs or going through a mental ill health episode when the infamous season 3 scenes were filmed. She insists she was fine mentally and had only drunk at most a little wine with ice in it, her preferred tipple at the time. She also feels the suit implied that she was, as McSweeney claims to have been, exploited by Bravo or its producers. I'm not a victim, Bensimon told us. I'm nobody's victim. Leah's arm is probably hurting so much these days because of her reach, right? Like she's reaching for the stars. She's reaching for something and it keeps falling flat because we keep seeing interviews of her with ABC News popping up where she says, I don't blame producers. We see her on the show saying, get these girls drunk. She got nothing, this Leah. She got nothing. Drives me crazy. Mark says, this just in, Bravo forced Kelly to run in traffic. I'm going to sue Bravo for having to scare us with that. You guys, Kelly running in traffic. You cannot recreate such incredible TV. I miss those early days. All right, let's go into something that I just saw on TMZ this morning. And this is about one of my old favorite shows. I really loved this show, So You Think You Can Dance. American Idol, So You Think You Can Dance. This was the heyday of like reality TV competition shows. I especially loved So You Think You Can Dance. It was like with Twitch and all of the most amazing dancers that came out of that show that eventually a lot of them ended up on Dancing with the Stars. Like it was just stunningly beautiful to watch. I loved it. So if you guys remember a little while ago, Nigel Lythgoe, he was the executive producer of the show and one of the head judges. He had all these sexual assault allegations by Paula Abdul. And it came out of nowhere. Like everyone was like, whoa, this is crazy. So let me kind of pull up really fast the original lawsuit. TMZ broke the story that Paula Abdul filed a lawsuit against Nigel and Fremantle Media North America. Those are the producers of Idol and So You Think You Can Dance in December, alleging he SA her twice. I'm scared to say it. The first time in one of Idol's initial seasons would be in the early 2000s, and the second at some unspecified point during her 2 seasons as a judge. She started that gig in 2015, according to the okay, so basically she went after him in December. He stepped down from the show as a judge, and now he's kind of coming back hard at her. And this is an interesting turn of events. He claims loving emails that Paula sent him refute these assault allegations. He's producing a slew of emails and posts from Paula, which he says show they had a very friendly and loving relationship for years after she says he SA'd her. In the legal docs filed Tuesday, it's immediately clear Nigel's taking the gloves off with his former friend and coworker, calling her a well-documented fabulist with a long history of telling wild stories that are untethered from reality and are primarily designed to attract attention and make Abdul appear to be the victim of dreadful misfortune. Ouch. The scathing response includes several private emails he says she sent him, filled with flowery, kind, and adoring language. For instance, September 12th, 2014. So remember, this is allegedly after the first incident happened. The email reads in part, "Hi, sweetheart. Thank you for this lovely gift. Please forgive me for not calling yesterday. Forever grateful to have you in my life. Love, love, love you. XOP." Another dated also in 2014. "Thank you for the beautiful flowers. They were exquisite, but I have to say the kicker was the birthday card last night. I am still howling. I truly appreciate our friendship, and I'm looking forward to launching our project." There was also a lot of public tweets from Paula to him starting in 2009 and continuing through 2015 when they were both working together. Many of them include photos of them together and captions like, "You know the crew loves you too, XOXOP." And in a Thanksgiving tweet, she wrote, "I'm grateful that I met you, Nigel. Have a very happy Thanksgiving, XOXOP." Are these strong enough instances that, fight off his assault allegations? No, and not in my opinion. I don't think that she's saying like, "I am in love with you. I love the way that you talk to me. Keep it going, baby." Like, I don't get that feeling at all. I also do believe this is like an element of like power control, right? He was her boss. She wanted to work with him. She's selling projects with him. 2014, the year that she's sending him all these nice emails, was right before she became a judge on his show. Like, I do believe that there was a little bit of a power control asserted here. It does make things a little murky because it essentially gives him freedom to believe that what he had done and what he was doing was okay. She's not telling me it's not. Like, everyone has different boundaries, right? And as someone who's known to cross the boundary before, like, sometimes we don't know what's going to offend people. We don't know what's going to hurt people. We don't know what's going to, take them over the edge. Not to say that he didn't do that. I'm just saying he may have taken her lead by being like, "We're good. Nothing's wrong. It's tricky. It is a tricky situation. Someone that, experiences this, RC Free says, I mean, even people in loving relationships can experience SA. Very true. You can be in love with someone who is treating you in those ways and love them still. I never told you guys the story. I don't think on this show. Maybe I'll have to do it this week on Patreon. It's pretty dark. It's pretty dark. I got, without going too in detail, when I was in 7th grade, the boy I had the biggest crush on in my life, like in love with him, like cried about him at night type of love. He didn't like me, like that. And I was crushing on him bad. And he got mad at me for something in school, like something I said to the girl that he likes. It was like a gossipy rumor situation. And he got so mad at me that he literally physically, I was in 7th grade. Remember this. He was in 7th grade. He was taller than me. He was a boy. I was like, a petite little girl. He pushed me against the lockers. He took my neck and he was like choking me and he was yelling at my face. And my best friend was there. No one else was in the hall. My best friend was there and she didn't know what to do. She got scared. She ran off to go get help. So I was there alone with him in this deserted hallway at Hawthorne Elementary in Beverly Hills High School in 1993. And he scared the living shit out of me. Like, I was not okay. I was so scared. It went on for what felt like forever. And you know what the craziest part about it, you guys? I still had a crush on him. In fact, he had to call me and apologize later, like that week or something. I can't remember specifically. Like my mom got involved, maybe principal. I don't even remember. And when he called to apologize to me, I was just happy he called me because I had such feelings for him. How crazy is that? I can't believe I went on to such a personal story, but I think about that often. Whenever you hear about abusive relationships, whenever you hear about people like being verbally abused, physically abused, it's a really weird thing when you have feelings for those people because you almost like give them a pass sometimes. You want the best and you want the attention and you want the love and almost like, oh, but now he has to apologize to me. He has to be nice to me. It's more than I was getting before. 7th grade, 12 years old. And that's where my mind was. Okay. On to happier things. I thought this was an interesting story. So I am obsessed with Beverly Hills 90210, as you guys know. Love it. And I think today Luke Perry's like biography, like a book about Luke Perry is being released. Anyway, this book, I mean, I can read anything, listen to anything if it's talking about 90210 behind the scenes. Because I was such a Shannon Doherty, Brenda Walsh, like Kelly Taylor, Jenny Garth, like I watched every episode. Like it was my thing, right? So at that time, I just wanted to know like what things were outside of the show. And I won't get into it. Maybe I'll do it on Patreon this week. That's what I'll do. About when I saw them filming in the street and what I did on Melrose Avenue back in like 1990. I was 10 years old and I screamed at my mom, get me out of the car. And she dropped me off, 10 years old, dropped me off in the street and I was hanging out for so long. It's a whole story. Anyway, I wanted to watch them. I just wanted to watch them when the cameras weren't on. So Brian Austin Green, David Silver, was on Shannon Doherty's podcast this week. It's called Let's Be Clear with Shannon Doherty. And they get into a lot of behind the scenes stuff of things that happened back in the day. So I thought this was interesting. There was major drama with the girls. We've heard little like rumblings, but Brian said today, he was like, it wasn't even a thought if the girls are different than the guys. The guys got along and the girls totally didn't. The girls had drag out insane, crazy fights like all the time. There was always drama. And one specific time, the big drama was around the fact that Shannon Doherty, I guess this is a crazy story anyway, like it would never pass in 2024. But Jenny Garth, Kelly Taylor, played a game, I guess, where she would pants random members of the crew. Can you imagine this happening in these days with like all the rules of like, what you can and can't do on set? So she would pants random members of the crew. pull down their pants. So Shannon decided, I'm going to show her a piece of my medicine or whatever. And she decided that she was going to pull up her skirt. Also, absolutely insane. She said Jenny Garth always used to wear these Calvin Klein low boxers under every single one of her skirts. So I always knew she wasn't going to be naked or, have no underwear or whatever. So I lifted her skirt and she was pissed off at me. And we ended up having a huge drag out fight outside where like all the other, and Brian Austin Green was like, I remember being there. I was with Ian. Like it was crazy. We also know that Shannon Doherty eventually got fired from Beverly Hills 90210 because of her horrible behavior and really bad press. My guess is that she was just a B on set, but she got fired without any warning. Aaron Spelling just called her one day and fired her for all of these things. And she was like, well, did you realize that your daughter, meaning Tori Spelling, was also in on all of this? And then finally, another story, which I thought was really interesting. And I'm going to keep like looking for more. But Brian Austin Green said that when he was dating Tiffany Thiessen, who was on the show, she played Valerie. Obviously, I remember, we all know Kelly Kapowski, right? Tiffany Thiessen. When he was dating Tiffany Thiessen, he brought her onto set. And she would always be there because they were dating. And then finally, she got written into the show as Valerie. She got cast as Valerie. And all of a sudden, he said that she was now making out with and having these sex scenes with people who he considered family, like his brothers, Jason or Dylan or Luke Perry, or Ian Ziering, whoever Valerie hooked up with. I can't even remember at this point. And so he was so devastated watching his girlfriend make out with his brothers, his family. He couldn't handle it. He said he was horrible to her. He yelled at her. He was possessive. He was angry at her. They lived together. He made life terrible for her. And he just said he feels so, so bad about it. So all I want in life is like behind the scenes of Saved by the Bell and Beverly Hills 90210 in my life. Like that's all I want. And finally, one of the bigger stories today, which I think is pretty damning, is Queer Eye and the drama behind that. So I read the Rolling Stone article. There was a huge Rolling Stone article that came out today, an expose, as they like to call it. It's called They Play Nice, Inside the Tensions and Tumult at Queer Eye. Queer Eye has a new member after Bobby Burke's departure. Remember, Bobby Burke has left. If you guys watch the show, there's 5 characters. There's 5 talent on the show. There is hold on, let me get all of their names. We've got Karamo Brown, Tan France, Anthony Porowski, Bobby Burke, and Jonathan Van Ness. And these were the 5 not original Queer Eyes, like the original comeback of Queer Eye. So not Queer Eye for the straight guy. This is just Queer Eye. And remember, it was on Netflix. It says in early January, the hosts of the show reunited for what may be the last time at the Creative Arts Emmys. Through tears and smiles, they got their statues. They were very, very excited about it. It says after 6 years, 5 cities, a stint in Japan, and connections with dozens of hometown, they call them heroes. The Fab Five took home awards as producers in the Outstanding Structured Reality program. It was a bittersweet moment because in November, interior designer Bobby Burke had stunned fans with news he was leaving the show. He decided he was leaving because at this point, he was saying, it felt like there was just not a lot of future with the show when he decided to leave. He said that there was like a really big goodbye at the end of the last season. All the crew, all the cast was saying goodbye. And he thought that everyone was going to say goodbye. It says he was breaking up with the beloved band who had always publicly presented themselves as a familial, tight-knit unit. But after 8 long seasons, 10 Queer Eye production members and well-placed sources tell Rolling Stone that notion was beginning to shatter. Petty disputes and competition over who is considered the show's top star were increasingly spilling out into the public. So basically, they were all kind of vying for the top star. Remember, they were all picked up for the most part as kind of unknowns. I think they all had small careers. Karamo Brown is the only one that I felt like I knew before because he was the He was on Real World. I don't know if you guys remember that one. I can find out in just a second of which one. Jonathan Van Ness was like an internet, creator. I didn't know anything about him. I didn't really know any of these guys, right? But it says that the illusion of a happy family ended with his departure, essentially saying not only were all of the stars kind of fighting for who was getting top billing, who was getting most of the scenes, but 4 production sources say it's because of Jonathan Van Ness's, who goes by JVN, and JVN goes by they them pronouns. So JVN had emotionally, this is according to the source, emotionally abusive and rage issues behind the scenes. Okay. I don't know, if it's true or not. I just like to think that usually when there's smoke, there's fire with these things. I don't usually hear big exposés about like bad experiences on sets unless there's some truth to it. So it says that there was more to Bobby Berk's departure, according to sources with knowledge. Not only was he allegedly blindsided with how things played out, but talk has been circulating amongst those close to the show that another Fab Five member may have campaigned for Berk's replacement. It says, and a production member says, it's not a new story that a boy band falls apart. Everyone, by the way, is doing this anonymously because of NDAs and career repercussions. So we don't have names of who these sources are. But it says essentially they were a group of people put together in their mid-30s, told to be best friends. But it was a manufactured boy band. It was essentially all these boys kind of put together and just like be the Fab Five. And their fame skyrocketed. If you guys remember, when Queer Eye came back, it really took them all to new lengths. They all became incredible, like huge stars in their own right with their own brands. Like Karamo started doing a lot of hosting, and JVN he's a hairstylist, they are a hairstylist and have hair brands like shampoo and all kinds of brands. I know that there's a few other stories here. Let me try to get it exactly. Okay, wait. Karamo Brown, one of the person is asking, no, you guys are wrong about this. So Leslie says, oh my God, that Karamo dude was on Real World. Was he the one who slapped a girl? Random memory unlocked. Oh my God, I really wish it was, but I don't think that we're right here because Karamo was on the Real World Philadelphia. The guy who slapped Irene had Lyme's disease. I'll never forget this, on Real World Seattle. I want to say his name was Jonathan. I could be wrong. Steven, thank you very much, Michelle. Steven from Seattle is who ran after Irene when she was leaving. She gave him some mean comment and like threw the bear. Who threw the bear in the water? Someone threw a stuffed animal in the water. He opened the door, gave her a slap, and then ran off. Tina says Kevin slapped the chick in Real World, but no, Kevin was in season 2 of Real World, which was in Venice. With John the Cowboy and Tammy, and he was like pulling off the blanket on Tammy. That was different. I mean, talk to me about those first seasons of Real World and we could do a trivia game. I know so much about this. This is really interesting. But he did not slap her. Coconut Cult says he slapped her so hard. That was Puck's season, right? No. Puck was season 3, which was San Francisco, which was also Pedro's season, and Rachel's season. And Rachel is the one that ended up marrying Sean, who was the Boston log guy. And now they have 19 kids and counting, and he's like a senator. I could do this for days. Literally, I could be the flowchart master of the early Real World. Talk to me about Real World season 22. Couldn't tell you a thing. But those first few seasons, I know it all. Anyway, so back to reverse. I love the tangents we get on Daily Dose. Back on this show, it was you just have a lot of personalities. This is what happens coming from someone that worked in TV and worked on, big shows that got very, very popular. It is incredibly hard to keep people under control when fame starts kind of creeping in. If you are just like not thirsty, I mean, what's the word? Not thirsty, grateful, excited, just thrilled and just like appreciative of anything to be on a show, then you're golden. But when you are at the point where you're starting to make a shite ton of money outside of the show, when you're starting to get a lot of deals, when you're starting to get fame, followers, recognize, you start to fight for more money, you start to fight for more fame, you start to not like the fact that you're not number one on the call sheet type of situation. And I find this interesting. Do I believe so? Essentially, at the end of the day, out of nowhere, they decided after Bobby Burke has announced his departure, they decided, I believe in January, that they are going to bring back the show for another season with Mark Ward, but mentioned it a little bit earlier, mentioned Jeremiah Brent. Jeremiah Brent happens to be married to Nate. Nate Bursky, something like that. Nate used to be Oprah's like right hand interior designer guy. Do you guys remember this story? This is the stuff that this is my Roman Empire, by the way, like 2000s pop culture. Nate was married or dating a man. I think just dating a man. I feel like he was Latino. They went to Thailand in December 2004. Burkus. Thank you guys so much. Burkus. Nate Burkus. I was like, is it Bertsky? Burkus. They went to Thailand in December 2004. They went to the islands of Thailand. I had gone to the exact same islands in December, exactly a year before in 2003. So I remember this story like permanently, 2004, they go to Thailand. It's exactly during that horrible tsunami. And they were on one of those tiny little islands. I was just in Thailand in 2019 again. So I remember all these islands so well. Like they're fairly, sparse, a lot of them. Huge, huge tsunami. And I'll never forget the story because Nate went on Oprah to talk about it. How they had to climb up their palm trees to hold on for help for what seemed like forever. And Nate's boyfriend died in the tsunami. He literally died in the tsunami and Nate survived. And he came back and he went on Oprah. And if you guys remember this episode, I was so upset by this story. Like it really, and I think it's because I had just been there. So like I remember it so well and it felt like it could have happened for us. Like it was so tragic. Since then, Nate, luckily, and I'm happy for him, has moved on and has found someone else. And he married Jeremiah. I believe they have 2 kids. I know they have a show like Nate and Jeremiah, like a HGTV type of show. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I'm not perfect. So if I'm wrong, I'm glad you guys can tell me this. Michelle says Michelle is a big pop culture person. She knows a lot of things. That Jeremiah Brent was on the Rachel Zoe project. So she apparently Jeremiah replaced Brad Goreski on Rachel Zoe. You guys know Brad. I love Brad. Brad is a amazing follow on Instagram. Brad and Gary Janetti, his husband, those two are like my favorite to follow. When they travel, when they look for their blueberry muffins, like, oh, I just love them so much. Anyway, this is a lot of deep diving about Rachel Zoe because Patricia's saying Rachel Zoe's assistant was so nasty. And if it's who I think it was, a girl named Taylor, I went to high school with her. And we could totally do this. We could totally do deep dives on Patreon over Rachel Zoe. Like, I want to talk about this forever. Anyway, Jeremiah is now going to be on the show instead of Bobby Burke. Am I shocked that there was drama behind the scenes at Queer Eye? Not at all. Do I think this article was a little bit of a nothing burger? Kind of. Like nothing huge came out of it, but I've heard many rumors. I've heard many stories about JVN in the last couple of years, and it doesn't shock me. Hate to tell you, just doesn't shock me. I don't know why. If you guys remember, there was a big drama with him and Dax Shepard on Armchair Expert because they had conversations about trans and trans rights, and they got into a debate, and it got turned into something that I thought was bigger than what it really happened, and it was like a huge story. I don't know. I'm just very interested to see what happens, with that. No comment from any of the Queer Eye guys, though, other than I don't even think Bobby Burke comments. I think he just had a Vanity Fair article that they took stuff off. So you guys, Andy Cohen's like, phew, what? It's not about me today. Other gays in the news. It's so good. Mark says JVN seems like drama waiting to happen. I'm glad you said it and not me because I concur. All right, you guys, I hope you all have an amazing Tuesday. What a random hour of pop culture love. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being part of the show. And please, please, please follow, subscribe, and then join Patreon tomorrow. Let's do like a 90s, 2000s pop culture reboot. Also, I got a DM saying I have to watch The Program on Netflix. Apparently, it's really good about like a boarding school. Lots of stuff going on there. Maybe we can watch that and deep dive. I hope you guys are all having an amazing Tuesday. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.